Going on with Twitch RNV. V.
It's not letting you?
It wasn't earlier. Now it is. It wasn't giving me any of these options.
That's weird. Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Uncommon Filth. Welcome. We're continuing the Archon quest. And my lovely wife, Hexfloof, is joining me. Helping me with the stream.
Is something wrong?
So let's continue on with the Archon quest.
Monsieur Villette and Lady Furina, they seem to have got it.
Into a dispute. Oh no.
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not?
Oh
Look at
shit.
this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not have it happen again. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found them in some ancient ruins, you say?
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature different images that seem to correlate. The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing.
I don't. I've never seen such...
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the
shit.
slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin. If anyone would know about it, it should be you.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Furina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on this. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool.
So you've been watching me all this time, have you? I didn't think you were that...
You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take... There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me. You're Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
Damn.
Did Furina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling. She didn't seem in the mood to care if we were
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems Furina didn't even realize we...
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again, a state of affairs that we cannot allow to Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep refusing to engage? Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is we may have to create a situation in which she will have...
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have the...
But Furina's seen so many trials, and she She's really good at dodging questions. How do we make sure that she won't just slip away at the first chance she gets?
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties, and then do what we can. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must prevent the prophecy from coming to pass. This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious, and so we must take a chance on this. But who will lend us their aid?
Ghostbuster. Oh, wait, no.
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you
True.
are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what families should do. Sit and enjoy a leisurely time together.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
It feels so tiny.
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me?
Why
I
feminine?
don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Damn.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last. I guess I'll be facilitating things from here.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create a series of traps.
Oh, how intriguing.
Well,
Ooh,
it's
some
just
traps.
an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot. So, let's invite her to explain in detail. A round of applause, please.
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be facilitating this?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might even pick up some fancy oratory tricks to impress your boss with in the future.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do go on.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette,
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played host to a group known as the Marechaussee Hunters. Though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters left behind by the ancient dynasty of King Remus. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. Sometimes a lethal. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now,
for me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can count on...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the...
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of person who would catch loads of fish.
And I can be their assistant.
with discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind...
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, without the use of any such tricks. But I do have one more question for you, Monsieur. If we were to create a trap now...
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the...
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment device. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and...
Wait, why is that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it. The line that divides life and death is often exceedingly thin.
So, are we going
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works, but maybe...
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunting metaphor is actually quite but we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god. A being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that's what's...
Oh. Okay. Go to Fontaine.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think that... Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. It's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But after all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that. Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely...
Who's that voice?
Aw, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
The voice from the sky, I fear that description is wrong. So, you're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I said, consider me a passerby, just accepting a
Oh.
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What? Then...
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods. Could things be happening in hidden... Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods...
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat. This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
The voice. Getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Luna!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. Not all Fontainians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparations.
Did she have pink hair?
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her. I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but...
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something.
Ah, yes.
True.
About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most...
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N sense of... but I've never met her. And if she were still alive, she'd be... well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But they must really stay in shape to live so long.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. Perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right...
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen it, but even so, I still hope for, and believe in, miracles. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help it.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological print. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are... I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Yes, coincidence.
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler.
Now I'm feeling stalked.
Feels like going outside for a walk. Let's go. Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Was telling me to go up even though I was already there.
Huh?
I like how my gachi just asked when are we gaming and they just never answered.
What's going on? Let Paimon see. The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has...
My gachi, if you're there, Nate said that they were gonna play Fortnite tonight.
Cannot interact with it. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report? A blonde adventurer with their white fairy legend. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trail, World Walker. Huh. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us, and we know she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter instead? Ugh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look cool, so Paimon will forgive her this time.
The mic whenever Nate is about to curse. When he goes, like, you piece of... How dare you...
Should we go in and get something to eat?
Go... He's just like... God damn!
Quick!
You gonna break your shit?
That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake!
You dropped all my stuff.
It was so delicious the last time we tried it. Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go. I'm sure it'll be great.
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all. Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me,
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. Still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having... No. It's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans.
About
She said
humans.
that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here. I've got something
Wow.
else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
Damn. Kind of bitchy.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. I'm unsure this cake... It's more delicious than last time. And the flavor gets...
Snarf down the cake.
I could always eat delicious food.
Okay. He went. Okay. I can continue the Archon quest.
Near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
Ha! You've got some nerve. You just used us to make some quick mora.
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It appears you didn't receive it, though. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
Ooh.
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now.
Oh,
True.
Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seems you've already bumped into Mona here in Fontaine. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the...
Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't count?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and
Yeah, are we even...
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat when you have the time then?
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some props, and... Whew, so much to get done now.
Wait, Charlotte,
I should put Charlotte on my team just to have a healer. All Fontaine.
And what's that?
I just need to build her.
Just for example, Fontaine were to be flooded tomorrow?
I'm getting a
What would you
Pokemon
do
ad
to
break.
get?
Huh.
As for the
That's
new
project you're
DLC,
talking about,
should
isn't it?
probably play it,
I mean,
honestly.
I do hear about it often.
I just don't
I
have
never once thought that
PlayStation
the day
Network
could be tomorrow.
or Switch Network.
If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way
What's it
to
called?
leave
Switch Family
Fontaine.
Plan?
Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, from what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than work. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours.
I do
know
have
what
a
you
few
think.
games on the Switch that I
Sounds a
want to
bit
beat.
sad, but I've always believed that it's best
Like
to do
Luigi's
what
Mansion.
you enjoy. Just think about it. If this nation really were to
Zelda.
be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would wind up writing would truly be timeless. And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and
Roblox
use messenger
VR.
pigeons to get copies out to the various nations as soon as possible. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic, but I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that I was born to be a journalist. But anyway, That's my answer. And on that note, I'll get back to my preparations.
That's so nice. All of a sudden, Paimon actually kinda envies her. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
I just hear in the background people going,
The
"Ah!"
sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine,
Yes.
but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow. Well, no, Paimon should ask if you could choose. We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we've always...
All goes well.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirrorcade, that's for sure. It's not only damp there, but salty too.
I was like, you'll grow mold if you stay here for too long.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Me and work. I'm gonna grow
Yes, I'm
mold.
Isadora. Monsieur Nervillat sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass
Tell them that next time.
I know, right?
The Phantom has declared the incident a small-scale riot.
A riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it was... Lady Furina was watching a performance at the Opera House. And
Join our Discord. Purple Heart https://discord.gg/4h8vtpzndk.
Against the Hydro Archon started...
So people have started to put the blame on Furina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the problem.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary.
Yep.
But the moment people feel threatened, gods are also the first to be blamed.
So what happened after that? Is Furina okay?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this, and the Marechaussee Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Furina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize...
So, you mean she's still...
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to search. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god, after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could
If any lurkers would like to join our little group, click the link for memes, gaming updates, and weird inside jokes winking face.
Weird inside jokes.
Good.
Because of Nate.
Monsieur Nervillat sent me to tell you about...
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go on. Thanks for...
Is that so? Well, alright then.
But Furina can't defend
Well,
herself.
sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Furina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic, but when Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, it would be hard for her to ignore being a... Paimon thinks Furina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away to Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis to back it up, too. Cool, huh? In that case, there's not a moment till... That's Furina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all what was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I'm so... Give up, Furina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Other than to repeat meaningless apologies over... Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina. It's just...
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects. Come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Oh, I remember. The show at the Who did that uncivilized rabble think they were? Disturbing my enjoyment of the art. They even dare to tout their Archon. I must teach them a lesson. I can just imagine their twisted and frustrated faces once they realize that I'm nowhere. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marche Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Oh, shit.
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line because they haven't been able to meet me in person, aren't they? That's against the rules. I can't let them get their way.
Furina just ran off. Quick, we have to catch up with...
It's the Archon of hiding.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up.
What? What is this?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted.
Fine, damn. They catch her there, that'll be funny.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
You're right. Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so the...
Yeah, but the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing, but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way, and the prophecy shall be fulfilled. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate. Indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate as long as the final moment hasn't come. Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good fit at all. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fawn—
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you never belonged here. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator, aren't you?
Ooh, cutscene. Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the... Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
Oh shit.
You would
can't
join
fight.
a raid against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Furina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not all—
Looking for excuses again.
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for the I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning. This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Arc. Woohoo!
Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this...
All right, then. Who will be...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tevat, my accuser and fate...
they would have just waited 10 more seconds.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial, just how much work did you do to force me on?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we need. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely... So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait.
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me were...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest...
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than some...
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the opera, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Areneas. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off.
Damn.
We had to select a location, construct a giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Chlor... You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the...
Yes, that is...
Well, Chlorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me... You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto this... Oh? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her...
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte!
Oh!
Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the... Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
Nah,
You
let's skip
defeated
this.
the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice of Fatui Harbinger, the fortress of Merapi. According to Monsieur Nervilette, both Child and that whale should have been in the primordial sea at that time. I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Got it.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, shit.
Come on, Nervilette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the action.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon.
Oh, I'm
Instead,
speaking.
I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted.
Oh, shit.
Lady Furina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah. Even though Lady Furina can be rather eccentric, isn't it
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Furina can be super...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever... See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be... If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Furina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me... And if I was not the Archon, then...
Why can't Furina live for so long despite being... She's human.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's word.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Furina.
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by...
Oh, shit.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have... Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of... One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every...
We
I
picked
might
the
take a
child.
little nap at E.
Okay, that's fine. I will need some water to
Confused
get
as all
it
the
though.
rest of us when the Oratrice declared child to be guilty without any proof. Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that.
Okay.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally difficult for...
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you are an Archon, you are also first and foremost the defendant. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
I never thought you'd use that kind of rhetoric against me.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon? Well, now you're really losing me. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice gave out a guilty verdict that day, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally, and it has been operating independently ever since it was first created. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god behind it must also be no...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in the audience. How can I...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my protection to the audience.
You don't need to go. That's fine.
Oh no! That's what she did.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people's faith in justice into Indemnitium. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a...
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Oh.
Yeah. No matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a...
Oh, damn.
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? The one that you love, please. You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And all of our ancestors?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what grounds have you to say that I'm not actually the real deal?
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we
The only thing I can think of is Nouvellette. What was the ad?
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case.
It's like pre-ordered now. It was like zombie cat, a weird cat zombie.
That doesn't sound right. Paimon did... seawater.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now to eliminate—
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the prosecutor, you must still adhere to proper procedure.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really will be the last time. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, including those of some of— So, Miss Furina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting guilt.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years. I guess her suggestion is valid.
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she really?
Unless she's not Fontanian.
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word. It really does.
What's going on? Is she really planning to— that's not what we thought she would—
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina, you may...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still here! I haven't been Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing like a normal human who would fall apart as soon as they touch—
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and attend—
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the—
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Furina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my—
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that something entirely unexpected might occur, we don't want anyone else to lose their life.
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to... It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Furina...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such cold and think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the... Also, if I was really just a human, why...
Damn.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
The odds are just too stacked against her.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left for Furina.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway her. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
It's like doing a Honkai pool. Not guilty.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Furina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an...
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Furina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first place. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
It's the prophecy.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've completed...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me will always be top...
Is
the last
that
stone.
the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't that mean I've come too late?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates. I would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Furina, and we've already proven that she's not the Hydro Archon. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kind of talking?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stones. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Paimon will do her...
Ugh, I hate these. The truth will set you free.
Just said. It seems to show the previous Hydra Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydra Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people? Huh. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after...
Hmm. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one.
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems increasingly likely that the prophecy may come true. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could have gone very badly.
The stone slate and the ruins showing prophecy describe the history of the future.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. With the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing? Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, has recorded on the stone slates. We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontanians can be dissolved in primordial seawater, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, The Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meripede was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what... But then it feels like we're going to have to share some truly shocking
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny. We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater. And how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah, isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. But since now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within. If everything goes well...
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were both correct. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Ocean. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into...
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was created...
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it does answer a lot.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanid. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of... Therefore, the meaning that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our...
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass. However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin.
Massive whale. Well then. Or should I say, welcome. There's the child. Okay, I will save him.
Way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen to make it. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within this.
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it is... Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off towards some other world.
That's not something I will... We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that the...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should...
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the god, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's...
The power?
What's happening with the aura trees?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Furina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Furina. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Furina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Furina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Furina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy. Under the curse I placed on her, so long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Furina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other. Oh, I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
now.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my Augustus. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my performance. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility.
The lights.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Of course.
Strike a pose!
Sharing my knowledge. Committed to memory.
Now you shall perish. Illusion shattered. Ha! Shine down.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! The show begins.
I see everything.
Inazuma shines eternal. Illusion shattered.
Furina. Furina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're near me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think
I don't know why, but it's... The people will all be dissolved into the waters. And only the Hydro...
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will...
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve...
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer some...
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that came to mind was, why do I have to be the one to... But if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and my pain on the other. Is it not...
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as... a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But
how will I do this?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge will not be pursuing divinity, but contending against...
I'm still not sure I So, how long...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you, all will of...
A trial, huh?
The speech.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? To be honest, I still... Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Opera Epiclé. I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, I am Furina. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all as the god Focalor, the god of justice. I shall do all within my power to lead you into an age of fairness and justice. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them to the Maison Cardinalise. The future of Fontaine will require us to work together, after all. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was able to...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit more...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If
you ask me. Perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might just be a Maison-backed puppet.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as humans imagine. Calm down, Furina. Think. What assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel all doubt. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim ownership of this opera house, would the children of Fontaine follow them? Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are qualified to witness wondrous trials. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a debut that suited the atmosphere. Now then, let us be...
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an...
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it blooms amid sin. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, it must carry fairness and justice. And on the other, praise and applause. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the feet. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people, to believe in it, heart and soul. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods of this...
Yes! Oh, yeah!
Opera House, Furina.
Lady Furina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your...
Come now. Was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought, Lady Archon.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties.
We playing tomorrow night.
At what time, I got you?
Lady Furina, I don't know what to say.
We're playing tonight? If you want to play, yeah, I'm going to be up for a while.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you stood in line to meet me, have you not? Oh, I'm afraid that's just an... All right. Deoteria, is it?
You remembered me. He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to...
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future, please do not hesitate to come and tell me. Going down...
You're such a gentle and wise god.
Like I mentioned, Nate said that they were probably going to play Fortnite tonight, so I'll be up.
Lady Furina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of, I'm afraid things still don't look good.
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this, but I wanted to see how far your all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they haven't found any effective solution, but...
Is that so? Well, no wonder. This issue has reached the realm of the... The day is finally over. I haven't had... But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. There are no longer any voices of... Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep going, and everyone will be saved. All right, Furina, don't think...
Opera House.
Lady Furina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the follow-up.
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already.
Lady Furina, I've waited so long for this chance to see you.
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen.
Lady Furina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I just don't know when these days... I feel utterly exhausted. Best to rest early today, too.
Damn.
Lady Furina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Dioteria, almost...
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great... What is it? Good
Are you crying?
Oh, really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god whose dominion is the waters.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh, Archon, I am honored to have witnessed it. Honored indeed.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I
reached it long ago. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain the...
Furina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone, your people are more than...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you just share it with me. I'm what you'd
A witness. Yes. I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. In other words, you... And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a stage, then you're just a spectator. If that... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as expected, the people... No, Furina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if it's really alright? Furina, you've worked so hard for so long. Surely it would be okay to put yourself first for once. Just this once. Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide your frustrations and sorrows? Surely it could not hurt. If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. I am Furina, the Archon of Fontaine. Everything will surely get better. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
So even Furina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine... It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But that is only half the truth, is it not? How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the most important thing.
Ah, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along. Am I right?
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, Not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Furina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan, then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontanians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the... But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Furina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet. Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That, at this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontanians, Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full...
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see at last. I now understand. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have You are a devious one, Focalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Codex Nouvellette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
But didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be—
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the Oratrice can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befallen
You mean
Fontaine.
me?
The beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring Narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Damn. I am not prepared for
I've already
this.
done my best to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from the way. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Well, good thing I picked my Archons.
I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Stabilize!
The show begins!
Shine down!
I see everything.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
I only have one long range. Oh, I ranked up.
Insolent.
Oh, he's strong.
Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Now you shall perish! Illusion shut!
This is order. Stabilize.
How brilliant! Strike a pose! Time to shine!
The Temple of Wisdom. This may turn a little.
There is no escape!
I will have order.
I figured they were gonna let me switch teams before engaging into the final battle, but they're like, "Nah, you got this." That's the child.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime.
Master's
Actually,
pet?
I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
That power. Who are you
Hyman has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. So you may speak to me as equals.
What sort of person would take the narwhal as a
I have to
pet?
agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point being...
Well, being that this pet almost... So what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master's master.
Master's master.
Right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well, how about the Visionary? Vetterfilnir, then?
Now you're just throwing names at me.
Gold Rhine.
I don't know shit.
Ooh, that one we've heard. Rhine part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait, didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What? Not to worry. Focalor has already met.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Furina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey, you missed a lot. I try to wake you up.
Hey! Help! Over here!
You woke up briefly and then you went back to sleep, and I tried to wake you up again and you pushed my hand. So I was like, okay, I just gotta let you sleep. You can watch the edit after I'm done editing tomorrow. It's a lot.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you right? We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
The soul renewed. The Furina di Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Furina di Rasula. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope It's like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it. Skyship Winglet, Furina Brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, with Jurier turning out to be a once overlooked hidden gem. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia? They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster just having passed, we would print a free edition packed to the margins with the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish further reports and go into the store. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction of their home. I'm sure that these stories could draw even your well-traveled eye.
Hyman's curious too! Wait a minute. Didn't we watch everything happen?
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news, if you haven't noticed. And also, with you around, I'm sure I'll get to see that Duke.
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several times?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on! Let's head to Poisson first, and then make a trip to the fortress.
I know fucking, what's her name? Skirk or whatever. I know she's hot, but I don't want to keep seeing her.
That's the first thing you... I kind of figure you're going to say something about that. Yeah, I was like, what's... There's only two possible things that are going to happen with Nate. He's either going to mention the new character appearance, or two, he would mention the new character in his sexual way.
A lot of Furina art in that other outfit. I don't want that. That's all I know. That's all I know. I don't want to hear nothing.
Well, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's really sad. I didn't think it was gonna surpass Nahida's, but it did. It did.
On another note, I'm drinking a lovely Mike's Hard Strawberry Lemonade. It's so much better than the regular one. Holy shit. Oh no, than regular Mike's Hard Lemonade. Hard! Strawberry lemonade is like one of my favorite drinks. It's so good.
Here at Filthy After Dark, everybody gets hard.
Oh yeah, baby. So I've been rolling with this Yao Yao, Furina, Zhangling, Nouvellette team, and everything dies very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
That's why I don't... It's not that Yao Yao is bad, but for Furina, it doesn't... I feel like it's lacking. Like, I think...
Well, I mean, in this team specifically, Baiju is better than Yao Yao, because you get the application with a better heal. But I don't have him, so... The options that are good... Well, Yao Yao is my only really good Dendro option for a healer. Outside of that, I could do Jean... or I could do, I'm probably gonna build either Mika or Charlotte. I don't know if I want to build both, but...
Well, I'm trying to build Charlotte right now.
Yeah. Cause she actually does seem pretty good.
Yeah, mine's level 50, and I'm lacking a lot of things. But yeah, in my opinion, I feel like Jean or Seiyu are the best.
Yeah, I don't know about the Seiyu one, but yeah, I get what you're talking about.
Well, say it's because you have to do the
I'm
rolling.
not
Yeah.
I'm not you. Well, no, it's like with the heal, isn't it just the active, or is it the whole team?
No, I believe it's the whole team. But the R2, because you have to roll, like you have to do her skill to do like I think everybody.
Oh yeah,
No,
that's
no, I think her burst also does everybody. I haven't used her in a while, but I'm pretty sure. Cause Seiyu has Sayu. I'm sorry. Lord, forgive me for not,
At
pronouncing things
specific
right.
intervals, the Dharma will take one of several actions based on the situation around it. If the HP of nearby characters is above 70, it attacks Animo. If there are active characters with 70 or less, it will heal the active character with the lowest percentage HP left. If there are no opponents nearby, it will heal active characters nearby. So it's active and it's basically Bennett because you only get the 70.
No, but if you have her C1, I think it changes that.
Yeah. You know, HP limits and simultaneously attack nearby opponents and heal characters. Let's see what else.
And then her skill when you swirl, you will also heal everybody.
Yeah, but it's like